there, welcome to Crafting with Kerry. So today what I'm going to be making is a bookmark. So my mom actually has really been enjoying reading lately, and she asked if I could please make her a bookmark with like a protea or something floral. So for today what I have chosen to use, hello Marie, is a foil craft board. So it's nice, it's got that thickness and durability that will go quite a long way and just help with the bookmark itself. I then was trying to contemplate, do I want to deboss this, so just have the indented line art of the protea flowers, or perhaps add some silver foiling. So I think we might give that a try. I do have one of my old existing bookmarks here just for reference in terms of what kind of size we should be going for. It's going to be just a source of reference for measurements. And then I have some bookmark tassels as well. So let's head on over to Design Space before Marie decides to eat all of our tassels. Hey Marie, is that fun, my angel? Great. So we can head on over to Design Space. One of the first things that I want to do here is to just get a shape going. So looking at the shape, certainly something rectangular with these rounded edges. That is some sort of representation to my existing bookmark. And we do want to just rotate that. I'm holding in the shift key on my keyboard to get these snap increments when rotating the shape. I'm going to unlock my lock so that I'm able to put in my own proportions in terms of height and width. So there are a number of different ways to do bookmarks. You can start off with like an acrylic blank and add your vinyl to it. You can also use various cardstocks, or like I'm using today, a Kraft Board as your sort of base. You could add vinyl to that as well, or even iron-on onto cardstock. Gives you a very nice variety of colors and textures as well. Or like we're doing today, using a piece of craft board and either debossing onto that, or in our case using some foil. What we want to do is look at our reference points. So we do have our reference bookmark here, and just measure our width at about 5.5 centimeters and our length at about 15. Okay, so once you have those dimensions, you can head on over back to Design Space and just insert them into your height and width. Because the shape, when we had put it onto Design Space, it was long ways around. It's seeing still the long portion as being the width. And there we have our basic shape for our bookmark that we will be able to use to cut out of our craft board. Also is going to help us to represent a base, and we can make sure that our design is going to fit quite nicely into that. Okay, we're going to have a look at our images for a protea as requested. Also make lovely little gifts and add-ons for your Christmas stockings, or on top of a present or something like that. It seems that this has moved right over for some reason. Let's just bring it back so we have everything together. Okay, something like that. Let's make it a smidge bigger. In terms of the width, we want to make sure that we change this from a basic cut because this is the part that we are going to be foiling in a medium foil. I'm actually going to be using silver because I think that will contrast quite nicely on this particular background. And we can select everything and make sure that we align it to center horizontally. Thinking of just putting mom at the bottom here in some text, so let's see what we can find in terms of our fonts. They're always your fan favorites and bookmark fonts, so you can just head on over to those as well. See what options we have. Let's give this one a go and see what it looks like. Perhaps something like this would look more suitable. And let's see what this is going to look like in a medium foil. So it's going to be a bit chunky. Perhaps see what other fonts we have. Perhaps something that allows for writing type style. So that it doesn't look like the outline of letters. It's being a bit slow on the system today. It's quite pretty. There's like kitsy paws or something in there. How cute. This looks like something that would suit my mom. Looks lovely and elegant. Don't know why the default is now down the side of the page as opposed to where all my other items are, but we'll just have to persist in bringing that over. My word, and this is also on this side of my canvas for some reason. See if we can bring everything together, hopefully. The strangest things can happen on Design Space. Not going to lie. Okay, at least we have everything somewhat together. And let me center everything horizontal. That looks nice. I really like that. We can also make sure that we select everything and attach. There is one more element to this that we need to complete, and that is the little circle to cut out at the top of the bookmark for our tassel. I'm going to make it quite small. We don't want it to be too big, so about 1/2 centimeter will work great. I'm putting it near the top, just with enough recess. You don't want to go too close to the top, and then you don't have enough meat for your tassel to hold onto. We're going to select everything and align it horizontally. And we can make sure that we select just our circle and our rectangle, and we can use our function buttons at the bottom and click subtract. So now we have it was just the layers that I was adjusting there. And now we have our bookmark that is ready to go. So hopefully this will be something that Mom will enjoy. I'm just going to quickly save, and we can move ahead and click on make. And there is our design, all attached, all on a single piece of our mat. Now it does tell us that we're going to have the medium tip inserted first and the foil, and then we're going to basic cut after that. Now we saw with our Christmas crackers that it is going to ask us to remove the foil after this medium foiling has been done, and then it's going to proceed to the basic cut. But that removal has to take place while the mat remains loaded. So because of that, I'm actually going to move this over slightly. I'm going to bring it a block down, maybe 2 blocks down, so that I have some space. So 2 blocks in. So I have some space to be able to peel off that foil. Okay, we're just going to have to remember this placement when we are putting our craft board onto our mat, because that's going to affect where our design is cut. So it's going to be cut just on 2 blocks in and 2 blocks in from the top and the left. So we'll want our craft board to just go perhaps halfway into that second block, as well as our foiling. We can click on continue. We need to set our base material, which in this case is our craft board. They're not giving us the option for the foiled craft board, so because of that I'm going to put a little bit more pressure. It's asking us to load our medium transfer tool, and then to place our silver foil shiny side on the base material. So we're going to head on over to our workspace and get our mat set up. I'm using my green mat as opposed to my blue mat because this has lost some of its stickiness, so it should be good to go for the purposes of this project. So because it's going to cut 2 blocks in, I'm just going to make sure that my material is loaded sufficiently. So it is going to stick over the board a bit, so that's going to cause a problem for our rollers. Because of that, I'm just going to cut off a piece and then place it on our mat. So I'm just cutting off a piece. Just measuring along the side, it is bigger than 15 centimeters in length, so we should be fine. And I'm going about halfway into the second block and the second block because I know it's going to start cutting here in this area. Just giving it a little rub with our brayer, and then grabbing my silver out of this pack. You seem to have gotten a silver. And we have our little stickers that come with inside the pack. As you can see, careful where you put the foil because it does transfer. It definitely will stick to your mat. Okay, once you are happy with your placement, I've just gone down a little bit further down than the 2 blocks because I know it's not going to be using that area for foiling. We just have our circle at that point, and we want to tape down our foil. See if we can get this a bit straighter. The first piece to stick down is always the most difficult. At least now that we have a piece down, we can just grab it, tack it, and pull it as taut as possible, as well on either side. Okay, once we are happy that everything is secure and ready, we can go ahead and load our machine. We need to ensure we have the right blade before we click on our go button. So I do have my foiling tip here with the 2 stripes, so it is the medium one. The fun part is always just pulling off this foil for the big reveal underneath. I can't wait to see what this silver foiling looks like on the foiled craft board. The reason why I also am excited about it is because the foiling tip is also going to give it a little bit of an indent, similar to the debossing. So here, while instead of with the debossing, you'll just have an indent and not much of a contrast between, the colors. Here we're going to have hopefully a little bit of an indent as well as the contrast with the silver. So the design is quite visible to the recipient of the gift, in this case, Mom. So it's also why I went with the medium tip. I'm hoping to just get a little bit of an indent and that color contrast coming through. But that's why we craft. We're here to experiment and see what we can make and create. This isn't a project that I've done before or a method that I've used before either. So that makes it even extra exciting. We're trying this together. And if we head on over to Design Space, this is what I expect to see, that they're asking us to remove the silver foil, but do not unload the mat, and to then swap over my blade from the foiling blade to the fine point. So this is why we had placed our design a little bit further down, because we're not going to have to fight and contend with those rollers. We can simply peel it off directly. And there we have it. I don't think it's coming up too well on the screen yet, but as soon as we bring it over to the workspace, you'll be able to see how defined this has looked, and it's just given us a little bit of dimension added to an embossing feel as well. Also a nice hack that if you don't have the debossing tip, but you do have the foiling tip, you can certainly use that on your board as well. So you could just use a foiling tip to get the same look as what the debossing tip would give you. And we can now unload our mat. And head on back over to our workspace. And from here we'll be able to remove the craft board and go ahead and add a tassel to our bookmark. And here we have our beautiful bookmark. It's got some gorgeous detail. Really does show up well on our foil craft board. And we can grab a tassel, go ahead and thread it through our hole, loop it through, and there we go. A beautiful gift, finished, personalized, and something very unique and special. I hope that this helped you today. I hope that you enjoyed our project, and thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you tune in for the next one, and happy crafting.